So we have a number of students here, some of them Polish students from the APS and others Erasmus students, and the arrangement that we had was that they would attend as many of the presentations as they could and then share their thoughts based on what they've heard, and I promised them a warm and collegial reception from you guys, and I hope that you will do exactly that. And thank you to all of you for being willing to participate and to share your ideas and your responses to what you've heard. I'm going to maybe just to set the tone, I'm going to sort of kick off the discussion with some of my thoughts and some of my responses to what we've heard so far. Then we'll pass the microphone around and you guys will just sort of share what you liked, what was thought-provoking, and some of the questions that you might have. So I guess I'll kick off by saying that this is perhaps a little selfish for me. I found a lot of the discussions around the evolutions of contemporary developments very interesting, especially the very first presentation, which sort of outlined how as people are living much longer than they used to, we need to rethink the way that impacts people who live with disabilities. What I sort of wanted to see a little bit more of is attention to the centrality of discourse in the way that disabilities and so forth are socially constructed. That is a little selfish for me. I enter these conversations as a discourse analyst and would, I guess, predictably want to see more discourse analysis. But that is where the last presentation actually entered for me, the one by Judith Crew that we just listened to. I thought, trying to center the way that ordinariness is itself negotiated and constructed. I found that a very productive way of thinking about a range of other topics that were introduced earlier. What is disability? It is something that is fundamentally socially and discursively constructed and negotiated. It is not simply its particular neurological imprints. And so I thought that was very productive of her. It does provoke for me a range of questions about things like, what would we like inclusion to be? In many of the presentations, I hear the words inclusion and social participation. What I heard less of is how these concepts are conceptualized. What do we want them to mean in concrete terms? And again, that's where I found the last presentation quite illuminating, because these are things that can be negotiated. There is, in my view, a certain risk if academics end up speaking on behalf of those they want to see included and those they want to have, participate more in whatever way that means. But if what it means to be ordinary and if what inclusion is and social participation is negotiated, then there might be ways of actively involving those on whose behalf we speak. In particular, there's a concept that I work with, which is called creative maladjustment. That sort of, in my view, touches on what the last speaker mentioned. The idea that there are some social norms like ordinariness, which are fundamentally negotiated. And I should add a little bit of background here. My main focus is on critical race theory. I deal primarily with questions around racism, not disability. But so for me, that is useful because the idea behind creative maladjustment is that there are some norms that are oppressive and that one should not be adjusted to, that one should not embrace, but find ways of maladjusting against. So if ordinariness, if inclusion and participation and disability are all discursively constructed, then we ought to think carefully about identifying those criteria, those metrics that might be oppressive and how we might renegotiate them. So those are some of my thoughts. These are a few takeaways for me that stood out for me during the presentation. I'm going to pass the microphone on now so that the students can speak for themselves, and you'll just basically introduce yourselves and give us a very quick take of what you found thought-provoking, what was constructive, and what you might have wanted to hear more about, that sort of thing. Okay, cool. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Hi, my name is Nicola, and I am a student from APS. I couldn't attend all of the the conference from the start, but I think it was really important topics, and especially for us young adults and students, the things that we don't really talk about in classes or every day. So it's really nice to have an opportunity like that to participate in this conference. I also find the last subject really interesting, and I think it's well, it was I don't know how to say that. It was really like made me like think about it more, and I would like to know about it more. I think that some topics were like in general, so there weren't that specific, and I would like to know more about. But it's really nice that there were emails, and you can, I think, contact someone and get to know more about it. And yeah, I think for now that's it.
Hi, I'm Amelia. Their speeches was very inspiring. For me, they touch on important topic for society. In a word, I liked it, and I'm a little stressed sitting here.
So hello, my name is Isabella. I am also an APS student. And first of all, I am super glad to be here today and to hear such important subjects. And I know for now that I will have to pay more attention to some of them. And the one that was most important for me, the most interesting, was the last one by Dr. Judith, and the ordinariness. I think it's very important for our daily lives, and yeah, it was the best one.
Hi, I'm Martyna. I'm also APS student. I liked all the presentation, but I like when guests talk more about real life situations. So the presentation with the American guests were the most interesting for me.
Hi, I'm Marie. I'm one of the Erasmus students, and back home I study special needs education in Germany. So I found the topic about special needs education in Poland really interesting, and also how the history and how it changed is like quite similar. And also how in Poland there are like more categories for them to fit into. So I think that's like a huge advantage from Poland. And also the subject of ordinariness was very inspiring, I think, to come back to or to value ordinariness more in the daily life.
Hi, my name is Patricia. I'm also an Erasmus student. I'm from Slovenia. And I was only able to attend the last presentation, but actually the topic of inclusion is really close to me, because before I arrived to Erasmus, I was actually working on a RPS project in Slovenia, which was inclusion in hockey. I'm a social worker, though, studying social work, so this was a weird topic for me. But I kind of see how hard it is to include people that have different disabilities. But I think it's because we sometimes stop trying and need to get out of our comfort zone and don't look at the differences, but look at the similarities. When we did that project, it was really successful when we actually had an event of inviting kids from special needs school, and they had so much fun, and they didn't see us as different because we didn't look at them as different, and we invited them on the ice skating rink and tried to include them on actually doing the sports. And I don't know how the situation of this is around the world. I didn't search it out around. Do they have like inclusion in sports, especially for kids with special needs? But I think in Slovenia we are really trying to make it possible for everyone to feel included. I'm sorry that I wasn't able to be here for more presentations. I maybe could be able to relate more, but Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dorota, and I'm also a Erasmus student. And I also just attended the last two lectures, and I thought it was really interesting because I'm also studying in Germany. And for me, both lectures were very interesting. The first one was very interesting because I was thinking about how disability and also special needs education could have worked out differently if history was different, if there wasn't the World War II, for example. So that was something I was thinking about actually while we were listening to the lecture, how history also impacts disability and this constructed idea of disability basically. And so I thought that the last lecture also connected to that very well, to kind of reimagine how, or question the constructiveness, I guess, of those social categories like disability or race or gender. So yeah, I don't really know what else to say, but I really enjoyed it.
Hello, I am Faye. I'm an Erasmus student from Greece, and in Greece I study kindergarten education. So the presentation about special education was really interesting for me. I sadly couldn't attend a lot of the presentations, only the last two, but I found them really interesting.
Okay, thank you very much. So I just want to close off, give you guys an opportunity if there is a particular topic, because you are speaking to a group of academics who specialize in the area of inclusion, participation, special needs. If there is anything in particular that you felt might have been missing or something that you feel should have attracted more attention during the presentations, I think it would be productive for everyone here to hear some of these things. So maybe as a kickoff, during some of the lectures that we shared, one of the topics that we discussed is the regularity with which people who live with disabilities are often constructed as the recipients of charity, the recipients of care, and those who need our intervention, need our activism, but they are not regularly constructed or seen or envisioned as people who have their own unique contributions to make to society, who can teach us, who might reach out to us. In other words, there is an inherent inequality in the way that these positionalities are socially negotiated. And I thought, I mean, these are all topics that they generated on their own, I should add. That is not something that I introduced. That is a topic that they brought to the table during our lectures. So given that you guys are clearly capable of like wonderfully insightful contributions, is there anything like a topic of research or anything that you feel you'd like to bring to the audience's attention, something you feel isn't getting the attention that it deserves and that you'd like to share with us? Anything?
I won't
Absolutely.
do the same either. But I wish to share also with you maybe like methodological positioning. So I'm not working on disability currently. And so when I attend a conference like this, what I think about, what I have in mind, and in fact I took notes, of course, but at the same time in my mind, I have one part of my mind related to extremely pragmatic situation, and another part of my mind toward my research questions and how I can transfer or build bridges between what I'm hearing during the presentation and my own research. And so here I need to reveal something that my mother is disabled. I mean, she had polio when she was young. And so I'm like, physical disability is my ordinary in that sense. And so when I hear all the presentation about this subject and I see the evolution it's extremely, I found it extremely positive, and that still there are research about it, and so I was touched, I mean, by all the presentation. And maybe I can share one small anecdote also about my mother, because we were speaking about also the education. And so it was like only, I will put only a physical disability, but a father needed to ask the teacher if she can just sit in the classroom. The teacher does not have to pay any attention, special attention to her, but just to leave her in the classroom, assist to the class. And my grandmother was taking her to the school, at lunch taking back, and went again to the school and went back. It was not close by, so she had to at one point learn how to conduct a car to bring her to school. And why my grandfather was thinking like that, he was born in 1915, and for him, my mother won't be chosen by any man to be married. So it was mandatory to find a way for her to be able to take care of herself, because my grandfather at one point will be dead. And so, I mean, this was all this kind of thinking behind this situation and what to do. So this is just one anecdote and a special case, but what are in the mind of all the parents also of the children, and so on. And yes, so I think all the questions that were raised today are really important and may have extremely concrete effect. And from the other side, so I'm researching the trajectories of people experiences homelessness. And during the whole presentation, I was like thinking, okay, and if I take the situation of being homelessness as a disability, to make this like this, what I can open or not through my thinking in order to catch things that I'm not able to see or analyze or conceptualize yet toward this situation. And yes, so that I don't have more, so I took notes, but then it's not the place to do it in depth, but at least it helped me to open new way to try to deal with that, or at least to try to question myself about it. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Do you have any last contributions from anyone? Okay, fantastic. Thank you guys so much for showing up. Then I'm going to end on a note of gratitude to everyone here. And this is, again, on a somewhat personal note with my own scholarship, because like I said, the work that I do stems from critical race theory, and as I guess most of you guys know, intersectionality is one of the cornerstones of the work. And to be honest, I mean, I know intellectually that if you talk about intersectionality, you talk about race, gender, and socioeconomic status, and of course, ableism and disability has to feature in the mix. That I know that intellectually, and yet it has, honestly, not featured in any of my published work so far at all. And it's one of the reasons that I need to attend conferences like this to equip myself and to expose myself to those who are better versed in the field. And on that, from that perspective, thank you very much. Right, and thanks to you guys for being here. I appreciate it very much. All right, thanks everyone.